extremely eerie clip from not long before Jean's death, where Owen and Safine make him give a disclaimer to their viewers that if he passes away on stream, it's not their fault.
If I'm narrating this, essentially saying like, listen, you know, we're all.
This is probably like the most shittiest thing I ever like really seen like from creators.
Oh, what's up? Oh, what's up?
What up, it's Ahmadjay back here in another video. Today we're about to be reacting to a video by Atozi. The video is going to be on streamers harass this man until his last breath for content and got away with it. Shit. I guess this is going to be an update involving the streamer that died on Kick. I mean, I've been so pissed about this case because like it's just a case of, you know, it not truly kind of being his fault, and you know, him just probably going along with it because it probably made him a lot of money, bro. You can call a lot of people dumb, you can call a lot of people dumb, but like, you know, when it comes to just like, you know, people, you know, being, you know, needing money, and you know, they see some type of financial thing, you know, popping off and them actually earning some pretty good money, they probably seen this as like a, you know, a way to go. And these two people took advantage of that, and they, you know, basically tortured this man until he, you know, breathed his last breath. It's sad in a sense when you think about this. Like I said, I know people got free will, but when you take advantage of that free will, that makes you a shittier person. So, man, it really sucks. I can tell by this title, they didn't receive a good amount of punishment for this. But let's just get into this. It probably have to do with them in a different country. But let's get into this. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Been enjoying the reactions. Let's get it.
These streamers harassed this man until his very last breath on live stream, and it seems like they got away with it. So the trial against the two French streamers who are convicted of repeatedly attacking and humiliating their friend during their live streams has finally come to an end. And this is all happening nearly 1 year after the tragic accident. There's finally at least some amount of justice from the horrors that this man went through, and for the family to actually cope with what's going on. Because we are roughly 1 year since this tragedy happened, and now I guess we have a little bit of justice from the horrors that were just broadcasted to this dude's audience. And I don't know if I would actually call it justice, but they do face some consequences. So today we're talking about Owen Senazandori and Safine Hamadi, the two French streamers who were a part of the Nightmare Marathon stream that ended with another one of them, one of their crew members and friends, not making it through the live stream, literally passing away on this challenge live stream. And this crew member was Jean Pormanove, who passed away in front of thousands of viewers live.
298 hours into a live stream, one of the group's other members reached for a bottle to throw at Jean Pormanove to wake him up, but the 46-year-old streamer had died in his sleep.
And if you weren't aware of this, you're probably kind of in disbelief that I'm actually even talking about this, because this story is just so beyond insane. But naturally, Owen and Safine, they immediately rejected the idea that they had anything to do with the death. But the viewers started looking into their content together, and they really started painting quite the picture here, because this guy has been put through the ringer before he ended up passing away.
Ah, tu me connais pas? Ah bah, eh ben maintenant tu vas me connaître. Non, non, non.
Jesus Christ.
So this is definitely another.
In a sense, you could just say, how would any people be entertained by this? But we've seen it so many times, probably like, you know, by Atozi telling us by these ridiculous ass people in the chat like this, or around the whole net, bro. A lot of people really are kind of deprived of like some human ability to be attached to like feelings sometimes, and they actually will like seeing people through pain. There's sick people on darkest part of the internet. This is why they stick to those forums. This is why they stick to those parts, and they probably stick with Kick because like they see all these type of like streamers on there making a fool out of themselves, and they see this as pure entertainment. This is just not entertainment, bro. This is just weird, bro, and it's weird, fucked up, and I just hate to see it. I just don't see the entertainment in that. That's just so weird, just being a older guy up. This guy's almost 50, bro.
Tragic case of, I guess, Kick's loose terms of service.
I'm sorry, was almost 50. Sorry about that. Rest in peace.
They really are free for all at this point. And not only does Kick allow streams like this, but they kind of use it as a selling point to prove that they're better than Twitch. And while Twitch definitely has its problems of its own, you won't see content like this on Twitch, which I think is a good thing. I mean, I just recorded a video on the Kick woman's prison social experiment, and that was also just insanely bizarre. Honestly, just horrifying to watch. So essentially, the point is, Kick has repeatedly had horrible things happen and still faced no consequences, basically. Well, they are being sued, but not really for this. Oh, dude, they're like opening up the whole hotel now, and I'm like recording videos in the lobby. Oh no. I did ask for permission. They said, knock yourself out, go have fun. So here I am having fun at 6 in the morning in a hotel because I've been up all night making videos. Let's continue. And regardless, it seems like the people who are watching these streams are just eating this content up. Like even in the case of this story, it seems like Kick was very aware of their channel since they were one of the most popular streamers from France. And I mean, they even used his humiliation as promotion on their social media channels. But I'm definitely getting a little bit ahead of myself.
Which is still fucking wild, bro. I don't get how they're not receiving any type of like accountability for this shit, bro. Maybe for the internet, but they should be receiving some sort of like part in this like this trial, bro. Cause like, man, you promoting this shit and promoting this on your whole platform.
Here, so let me give you guys a little bit of backstory if you're not caught up to speed. But Jean Pormanove, whose real name is Raphaël Graven, he actually started his internet career in March of 2020 when everyone was basically online. Jean was apparently 46 years old and he was streaming allegedly out of his mother's house on disability trying to earn some extra money. Originally, Jean started streaming Fortnite and Warzone on Twitch, but didn't really gain too much of a following. But once Owen found him streaming and watched him for a while, he realized that viewers might actually find Jean's short temper pretty entertaining. So I guess he decided to create a lol cow and turn him into a cash cow. So once they started making content together, it didn't take too long for Jean to blow up. Owen and his friends already had a little bit of a following, but this collaboration felt like they definitely struck gold. So Jean, Owen, and Safine, they were a part of a group called Le Local, and they all kind of made collaboration videos and streams together. And they considered themselves friends, and they built this massive audience off of, I guess, Jean's reactions.
Oh! Pizza time! Pizza time! Oh, 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 oh.
But apparently it didn't take too long from them, I guess, using Jean's organic reactions to them switching up and trying to farm reactions from him. And this is by any means necessary. So for years, the group would essentially subject him to what many people would call humiliation.
For years, bro. I had no idea this shit was going on for years, bro. That makes it even more sadder. And like, just because they couldn't like get to that height and to that stage enough to for their career, like they eventually basically like tortured this man to death, essentially. And bro, they couldn't do nothing because they weren't more entertainment enough. So like they farm reactions off this guy. That is, I still don't see how they're not getting no fucking type of like, you know, at least some type of sentence for this, bro.
And potentially torture. And this is all just to entertain the viewers. They would slap and hit Jean, they would insult him, they would hit him with paintball guns at close range, and even go as far as to choke him while he thrashed and yelled for them to stop.
What the fuck, bro?
Allez, tu vas mourir. Arrête, arrête.
What the fuck?
Like, this is some insane stuff. But remember, the more people watching and subscribing, the more money they're bringing in. So Jean had reportedly, you know, gone from making almost nothing and living with his mother to reportedly making as much as 5-figure sums monthly by late 2024. It was also reported that Jean had moved into an apartment owned by someone in the group. So imagine this is your entire livelihood and your housing is essentially tied to this horror show. So even if Jean felt like he was in danger or fed up, it's said that he was very often pressured by the group with threats of him losing his money and home if he refused to go along with their antics. So it's said that Jean himself admitted that he didn't have any friends before Owen and Safine, and that definitely adds to this very difficult dynamic. So essentially
Yeah, that's what I just pointed out earlier, bro. He was essentially kind of just pushed into this, and you know, like I said, when people see the money rolling in and they don't want that to go away, it's really sick that they took advantage of that. And yeah, now knowing that he was on, like, you know, living off a disability and you know, like living with his mom at the time, so I can get why he was this was just some new money to him.
only friends put him through torture for money. Like, this is just such a sad situation. And it's definitely safe to say the lines were a little bit blurry between jokes and just outright humiliation. Like, if you put yourself in his shoes, it's easy to see how he made some excuses for the content and actually just saw himself as a part of the crew and not as their personal lolcow. But the content was apparently so alarming that even before the stream where Jean lost his life in, they were being investigated. So there was apparently a criminal investigation on Naruto and Safine in December of 2024 following a publication of an article on the French media site called Mediapart. And while being questioned by police, Jean declined to press charges and said the acts were staged with his consent. But again, we have to consider all the outside factors here. But regardless, clearly they went on with their content anyway. So the fateful stream started on August 5th, and that's when they started these multi-day long subathons that would be filled with more horrific stuff than honestly I want to talk about. And after multiple days of non-stop live streaming and harassment, Jean reportedly texted his mother saying that he felt trapped in their deadly game and was being held prisoner. And unfortunately, it seems like Jean could sense his fate, because on the morning of August 18th, when the boys woke up one by one, still on camera, it started to become obvious that something was very wrong with Jean. And apparently to try to wake them, they threw water balls on him, they smacked him, but pretty quickly they realized something was extremely wrong and they ended the stream. Then hours later, it was announced that Jean had passed away in his sleep in front of 1,700 viewers live. And Owen and Safine, they made heartfelt posts remembering their friend, but it's safe to say that people weren't really buying it. And it definitely took no time for threads on Twitter to start popping up, going through their past. Because it's safe to say, I mean, when you look at their track record with the content they were making with Jean, it does not look good whatsoever. Because viewers dug
tried to play this sentimental gimmick after he passed away. You were literally throwing bottles and stuff to the end when he died, bro. Man, that is such a disgusting thing, bro. This video is kind of throwing my vibe off, bro. I should have known when I was about to react to this, bro. It's essentially just fucked up, man. Man.
Got this extremely eerie clip from not long before Jean's death, where Owen and Safine make him give a disclaimer to their viewers that if he passes away on stream, it's not their fault. That's crazy.
Imagine un jour dans le délire, on est en train de rigoler et tout, et il claps.
If I'm narrating this, essentially saying like, listen, you know, we're all laughing and we're enjoying stuff. What happens if, like, while we're all enjoying stuff, he dies? That's what they're talking right in front of him. You really have to understand the psychology of someone listening to other people discuss.
Talking about you on the third person,
you
like
dying.
you're not there.
Tu sais que je me suis déjà posé la question.
And the other guy says, I've already asked myself the question.
À moins qu'ils disent face caméra là maintenant.
And then he says, if that happens, well, then we're done. And he says, no.
Que si demain il meurt en plein live, c'est dû à son état de santé de merde et pas nous.
Unless he looks at the camera right now and says, if I die tomorrow, it's because my health is shit and it's not because of these guys. So right now, they're already asking him, as if it's almost premeditated, to make an excuse for why they're not guilty of his death.
So obviously that clip doesn't help them whatsoever. So
that is fucked up. This is probably like the most shittiest thing I ever like really seen like from creators. I know I say that all the time, but this tops the damn cake. You literally try to give people a damn alibi. So if something really serious happens and he dies, you literally have something to just like kind of go on. Man, I really wish these two people would have got life. If this happened in the US, it would have been raps, bro. Like, why do other countries have to just like, oh shit, oh shit, oh Charlie horse, sorry. I'm just like, why do other people have to always in other countries literally have to always have just different weird laws that just let people escape like, you know, murder and slash like, you know, being responsible for someone's murder adjacent at least, and lets them escape essentially. I mean, sometimes it rarely, like sometimes all the time. Well, I'd say it happens to a small percentage in like the US. Most of the time people end up getting a good amount of years or less years, but at least they'll get 10 years or more. But man, this is just so fucked.
Naturally, there was outreach from both viewers and authorities, you know, because people believe this could have easily been prevented. But to be completely transparent, Jean did have a heart condition and he was on medication for it.
Oh
but why a person with heart problems would be going through content like this, that's beyond me. I don't know. I guess the logical conclusion is for financial gain and for community, because, you know, he said those were his only friends. But I mean, hey, with friends like these, who needs enemies? Because at the end of the day, putting someone with a heart condition like that through this kind of stress, not allowing them to sleep, and constantly attacking them and keeping them in a state of anxiety and, I guess, panic, that's not good for a heart condition. You can't be hitting the surprise Pikachu that something actually went wrong when you do something like that to someone. And for months, Owen and Safine denied any involvement with his death, especially considering the autopsy found that Jean's death was non-traumatic, meaning the physical abuse that he endured was not the cause of his death. Apparently, his heart just stopped, likely due to a combination of things like illness, stress, and sleep deprivation. But the French prosecutors definitely wanted people to be held responsible for streaming this humiliation, including Kik. So in France, the law regarding human dignity suggests that even if a person consents to being harmed, the state has a duty to intervene if that harm violates the fundamental dignity of a human being. So a prosecutor in Paris, Larry Bacot, I think I'm pronouncing that okay, probably botching it, he said that he opened an investigation into the platform to examine whether Kik had knowingly broadcasted videos of deliberate attacks on personal integrity. And then finally, in January of 2026, Owen and Safine were taken into custody and held on charges including assault, incitement to hatred, abuse of a vulnerable person, and recording and broadcasting violent images. Owen maintained that his content was staged and Jean had willingly participated, but Safine showed more remorse for his actions. And almost poetically, 1 year after the horrific stream started, they delivered a verdict. So on August 5th, 2026, Owen Cincinnati was given a 2-year suspended sentence and fined 15,000 euro, while Safine was given an 18-month suspended sentence and fined 5,000 euro. Meaning, essentially, they both avoided jail time for this. And I guess this is as long as they don't reoffend.
Bunch of bullshit, bro. That was just lightly. I mean, even if like it wasn't essentially their fault, like, like basically not know. I'm basically, like it being the heart problem and that being the cause of his death. At the same time, it was their fault because they probably known he had like some type of like thing with him. He was probably taking that medicine and those pills to keep his heart under control. And basically, they had a chance to stop all this, and they kept on going. If you know your friend has like heart problems and will really pretty much like die from this, you were essentially a fucking shitty person for doing that. I'm really annoyed that these people avoided prison. You're finding them a couple of bucks, they're gonna pay that off and just continue with their life. A suspended sentence. Come on, man.
Or breach the conditions of the court. And Safine, who is now without a job, said he expects to be called a murderer and be insulted by the whole planet. Owen, however, plans to make travel videos and is writing material for other content creators. So I mean, all around, this is just a sad tragedy, which is why people should really think twice about making content like this. Because no matter the punishment, I mean, Jean's not getting his life back, and they lost their friend, if he really was their friend. They didn't really treat him like a friend, at least from what we saw on stream. But now, he's not here, they're both technically unemployed, and they didn't get prison time. But both of them did get 6-month digital bans, so they can't be making content for at least 6 months. And as for France going at Kik itself, it's unsure if anything will actually come of that, since there seems to be little to no—
Man, they're not gonna go after Kik. If they're not willing to give these people, time in prison or any types of time in prison, man, like, they're not gonna go fully after, Kik itself. I mean, I guess you can try to sell the argument of like, Jean probably knew everything he was getting into by still continuing to be there. But at the same time, like I said, this is like an older person, and he was living with his mom. Like, like I said, like coming into some money, and it's just new to people, bro, and they would like to keep that, like, no matter what they're going through. But then on the other hand, these two fools, like, it's really annoying that they known of this and they just kept on doing this shit to him. If that was truly your friend, you wouldn't do that to your friend. Like he said, who needs enemies at this point when you just have a friend like that in your corner? And like them taking advantage of him, essentially knowing that. And that clip kind of gave me chills, because like they were just trying to use that as an alibi. This nigga literally went like this if he on stream when they were translating it, and that literally put it into like, settling it right there. They should have probably showed that shit in court, but I doubt it would have do anything. These foreign countries, like court systems and the way the laws work is just so faulty to me. I don't know what else, because these two niggas would have probably at least got 5 years in prison, bro. That's what I think they deserve. That's what I think, because essentially it's their fault. They had knowledge of just this whole thing, and they still let this happen. Oh, this case pissed me off, bro. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments, but I know I really hate and have a disdain for these two people, and I hope they have a bad time in life. I don't really give a fuck, bro. But go see the original video down below, and This video will be linked in the description. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. We are on the road to 900. I'll catch you guys in the next video.
He was the best guy around. What about the people he murdered? What murder?